Hi folks, in this video I'll show you the unique track work that was used in the southwest Wisconsin town of Fenimore. This is a narrow gauge line operated by Chicago Northwestern. It was a narrow gauge that ran a short line basically from Woodman to Fenimore. I'm modeling an ON30, so come on along with me and I'll show you the track. Probably the best source of research material is a book called The Dinky. I think he was written by Greg Cotton, Robert Felton, and James Nichol. That goes into quite a bit of detail about the railroad. There's a track plan for the town of Fenimore. I'm not sure of the year of the track plan, although it basically was probably pretty much the same throughout its existence. There's a standard gauge that came from Madison into the town, continued through. There's a three-way stub switch right here, and it continues on to a four-rail dual gauge that extends 1,226 feet past this switch. That's about a quarter mile, so that's probably about enough for the train to turn in, and then if they needed, they could switch the engine, because this is a four-track, comes up into the roundhouse, or the turntable and the engine house. They could then turn the engine, bring it back out, and there's a connection here between the four rail and a three rail. And the three rail went around the other side of the depot, south side, and they connected up with the narrow gauge. And the narrow gauge came in from Woodman and would come around this side of the track, the side of the depot. So they would be able to park the train, run the locomotive in, back it up, turn it, run it out, go around the other end and back it, and do some switching, whatever they had to do, add cars, whatever, back here. There's also a little siding that came to the creamery, little cheese factory right here. And there's some warehousing and stuff. Basically, this would probably be like a team track, I guess, along here. So I've tried to capture this prototypically as much as I can. This is looking north, and so when you look at my layout, it would be just the opposite. I'll show you when we start coming in from this side with the four track, where the narrow gauge joins the four track and then comes into the four rail switch, where it comes off this way and goes a two rail standard gauge, and then into a two rail three-way stub switch. One left leg comes off and goes into a three rail narrow gauge dual gauge, and that continues on to a dual gauge and into a just narrow gauge. The engine house would have had a turntable that was four rail, and the engine house actually was suited for housing the locomotive, the standard gauge. Now, back in that time, they would have used the 460, which is smaller, so this turntable was probably only about 60 foot. Most of this, I have to make some assumptions on the size and guesstimates. There's nothing really quoted anywhere. There's a couple pictures of the turntable from a distance, not really seeing it. There's only pictures of the front of the engine house. This building next to it is the water and power company. And there's a water reservoir. And then this would be a water tank, the dual spout, which was rebuilt at the Fenimore Museum, the Dinky Museum in Fenimore right now. They've rebuilt that water tower. Now this shows the Dinky, or Dinky line, where it would be coming from Woodman. You see the tall trestle in the background. And it would come along, and of course I don't have the 1,200 some feet in scale. So what I've done is I've started the four rail right about here. I started laying the ties for that. It'll come around, go around that back. I've been experimenting with different radiuses. That's why there's so many there. And I've settled on a 30-inch radius. The standard gauge is only going to be a 460, so it's not really a big locomotive. Goes along the back of the layout. And I've tried to stay with the 30-inch and keep it as far back as I can, because when I get up close here, I have to go to a turnout that's going to be a 4-rail going to this thing and 2-rail going to that. The 4-rail will come in, and then there's another turnout that goes to a 3-rail dual gauge, and the 4-rail continues on into the turntable and the engine house. Right now it's showing the engine house being about 50 wide by 75 long. It may change out depending on how things fit. One of the things I really need to do is to make sure that this turnout is far enough back that I have room to get this next turnout from the 4-rail to the 3-rail in there. After the 4-rail or the 2-rail switches over, here's where the 3-rail, where the 3-track stub switch will go. And then you see that that'll be standard gauge over there. And then you see where the other turnout is in the back. Standard gauge back to this siding right here. Right now I'm just having this here as a cheese factory, but will probably change. I've just laid track in to kind of get a guesstimate of what'll fit and what won't fit. Try to make things work. There's the 3-rail standard gauge, and then that will split up by the depot. I got the depot basically penciled in up there. Uses cardboard. I call this my paper dowel method, where I just cut out what I need and move it around to fit where you have to go. Now, of course, all of this is going to have to be hand laid. I've hand laid O-scale turnouts and ON30 turnouts and track. I've never done a stub switch. I've never done a 4-rail to 2-rail turnout, much less a 4-rail to 3-rail turnout. Maybe this will help understand. This is a schematic. Again, north is down. Typically, we always see north up, but in order to get it to fit in this space, I had to kind of reverse some stuff. I reversed, basically putting north down, south up. You can see the turnout. There's the little 4-rail to 3-rail over and up. Around the depot would be right here. There's the engine house, turntable, the narrow gauge. This is a narrow gauge little siding right here. Standard gauge through, standard gauge siding. Dual gauge, 3-rail, narrow gauge. This is where it gets tricky and kind of complicated. Well, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please list them down below in the comments section. I appreciate it. And take care, everyone.